Alvaro, very good afternoon to you. Barcelona have reiterated that Frenkie de Jong is not for sale. I mean, I'm guessing, there's all sorts of messages and then other messages under messages. Is this effectively them trying to up the price for Frenkie de Jong as far as Manchester United are concerned?
Yeah, I'm afraid it's something to do with that. It seems like it's going to be the next soap opera of the season, at least of this window market. The last news about Frenkie de Jong is what a few hours ago in Barcelona, Ronald Koeman said, former Football Club Barcelona coach and one that obviously knows very well Frenkie de Jong. He said that the player himself has recognized to him that he wants to stay in Barcelona. What we can say is there's an agreement between Football Club Barcelona and Manchester United. If that agreement, any team, let's say Manchester United, for instance, pays those famous 80 million euros Barca wants, I believe the player is going to leave. But yesterday evening in Barcelona, there was a meeting between Joan Laporta in a very famous restaurant in Barcelona with the new Chelsea owner. And Barca believes, and they are saying, that Chelsea is going to present an offer in the next days. So it's not only Manchester United right now, it's also Chelsea. But if you ask myself, I will say, first, the player wants to stay. And second, in case he doesn't stay, it seems, as we've been saying in the last weeks, that Manchester United could be his destination.
I wonder, whether he wants to stay because he feels he has unfinished business there at the camp now. He hasn't always hit the heights. At times he's been inconsistent. But when you do see the very best of Frenkie de Jong, what do you see? What are those qualities that you think could potentially be very, very useful for Erik ten Hag at Old Trafford?
If you see Frenkie de Jong's games with Barcelona, and especially with the Netherlands in the last 2 years, you can see he's one of those perfect midfielders, box to box, but always with quality. He's one that is always asking for the ball. He can move the team. Xavi, for instance, had recognized many times the last season in May and June that he wanted the player to stay because he knows it's kind of an engine for Football Club Barcelona midfield. Remembering after Xavi, Iniesta left, now Busquets is the only one. And it seems that Frenkie de Jong has that DNA famous of Football Club Barcelona. I could say he can help perfectly Ten Hag and Manchester United in making move a team that this year hasn't been in UEFA Champions League. And of course, they need quality. And Frenkie de Jong is one of the best in his position.
OK, so potentially an exit from the camp now if United push a little harder. But what about incomings at the camp now? Barcelona made an offer for Robert Lewandowski, despite Bayern Munich saying that he is not for sale. Boots on the other foot now. What's the latest on that deal?
I would say, David, Bayern Munich is doing exactly the same of Football Club Barcelona is doing with the Frenkie de Jong situation. I mean, we all know that Robert Lewandowski wants to play in Football Club Barcelona, the 33-year-old striker. As we've been saying in the last weeks, it's target number one for Football Club Barcelona. But right now, Barca is trying to win in time, as I said, because they need this famous second palanca, which is an euphemism for saying an economical improve, a credit and an income of money, obviously. And they're waiting for an answer of Bayern Munich. Yesterday, Joan Laporta, when he was asked in Barcelona, he said, we all know that Robert Lewandowski wants to play for Football Club Barcelona. We want the player to come. And we are just waiting for Bayern Munich offer. So if Barca wants the player, Robert Lewandowski wants to go, and Bayern Munich knows that, it seems quite difficult to understand that the player is going to remain in Munich. So I will say they're just trying to win time. And if Barca had enough money with this famous second palanca, I will say they're going to sign the player.
OK, let's talk Ousmane Dembélé. Fantastically talented, at times frustrating, but unlucky with injuries as well. Talks about a new contract. Barca likely to keep him? Alvaro, what do you think?
Well, the first thing we have to say, David, is that it's not going to be a renovation in case he stays in Barcelona, because he's not a Football Club Barcelona player now after 13th June. So it will be a new sign. Joan Laporta has said, and he has insisted in the last days publicly even, that there is an offer made to Dembélé. But the problem is that Dembélé right now and his agent hasn't answer to this offer. So the problem is, if Dembélé do not answer, if he doesn't answer, how long is going to wait Football Club Barcelona for him? And there's another tricky situation right now, because nowadays it's difficult for Barca to sign players, and they believe inside the club, in the last 24 hours, they have realized this, that in case they finally could sign Rafinha, Leeds player, they're not going to do a huge operation for Dembélé. So it seems that it's going to be one of those, or Rafinha or Dembélé. And right now, they preferred Rafinha.
What about Jules Kounde, a player who has been performing in La Liga with Sevilla for some time? We know that Chelsea are interested, but what about Barca's interest in the France international?
Exactly the same as what we've been saying. It's an economical problem right now. Barca is asking the player for time, but the player is not one of those that wants to wait a lot of time. He wants to have resolved his future in the next days. So if Barca is waiting for this second palanca, which means an income of money and improving their economical situation, and they want to sign first Robert Lewandowski and Rafinha, it seems that the Kounde situation is going to be quite difficult for him to sign for Football Club Barcelona. I guess the player wants to wait, but let's see how much time.
And it could be, I suppose, direct replacement for Clement Lenglet, who is at least going on loan to Tottenham for the season. What sort of player are they getting? Again, a player who's had his highlights and has had his down moments at the Camp Nou.
Yeah, Lenglet is an amazing defender, of course, but he's improved, and his days in Football Club Barcelona weren't as good as expected. In Sevilla, he played extremely well, not in Barcelona. I'm not pretty sure what are you going to find in Premier League in Tottenham, but it seems that he's one of those players that did not understand the way Barca likes to play, and maybe is one of those players that with the Barca t-shirt or with the Barca jersey could not improve as good as we are used to. But I guess it's a good player for Conte and for Tottenham. Let's see, because right now we can see, or we can believe, or we can expect good performance and also bad ones.
Just very briefly, before we let you go, Alvaro, we spent a lot of time talking about Barcelona ins and outs. Let's balance that up a little bit and talk about Real Madrid. Obviously, missing out on Kylian Mbappe, who decided to stay at Paris Saint-Germain. Have they done anything? Are they likely to do anything to try and appease the Madridistas and get anyone else in? Or is it going to stick with what they've got? Benzema, Vinicius, etc.?
Yeah, Benzema, Vinicius and Rodrigo. The thing we can say is that Carlo Ancelotti, after the signing of a new player was impossible with Gabriel Jesus, he's thinking in the possibility of using Rodrigo and even Eden Hazard as a number 9, fake number 9, or false number 9, as we said in Spanish. Now we have to say that Luka Jovic had left the club today. He's going to sign for Fiorentina in Italy after 3 goals in more than 50 games, something like that, after 3 years, 60 million euros. So it was a failed sign for sure for Real Madrid. And the belief inside the club is that Carlo Ancelotti wanted a player to could help Benzema, but as we've been saying, it's like Ruud van Nistelrooy many years ago, or that kind of player that can understand that he's going to start in the bench and he's not going to be in the lineup for all the important games. And nowadays, finding a good player with experience or expertise in this moment, it seems quite tricky and difficult.
OK, Alvaro, we will leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. Un placer, como siempre. Pleasure to speak to you. We'll speak to you again soon.